How you doing, Pat?
Good. Hi, John.
Hello, Mr. Cloudy, Mr. Webster. Look like you're stuck in an opium den.
I don't get it with this damn thing.
Huh?
Taking a Q-tip and I've cleaned that screen, that little thing, and I don't
Still nothing, huh? Huh, that's crazy.
know. Yeah. Not smoke film. We don't smoke. Except the hookah.
Yeah, I hear they're opening a hookah shop right by me.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Nice.
Will we get any tax revenue?
Yeah.
We need the tax revenue, I guess.
Hello, John. I see you're front and center.
Hi, Tim, how are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Good.
All right, folks, without further ado, we're going to call this meeting to order. We got a quorum here. It's Tuesday, June 15th, 5 p.m. Presents myself, Dave Tassoni, Jim Webster, Bert Girl, Angela Fellers. We have our Administrator Patrick Thompson. We have our Assistant State's Attorney John Gilberti, and we have Frank Hodina in place of Carlos Molina. So Assistant Engineer Hodina is with us as well. First off, there's no approval of minutes. I don't see any minutes on the agenda. There's no, seems as there's no public participation, so we'll forego that language. And we'll move right on to legislation. And our first order of business is, it's a resolution 21-017. It's a resolution authorizing the execution of a local public agency agreement for the federal public agency agreement for federal participation for the construction of the Perryville Bike Path Extension between Illinois Route 173 and Hart Road. Winnebago County cost $217,000. IDOT matching funds of $984,000 and some change. And I would so move. Seconded by Mr. Girl and Mr. Webster. And I would ask Mr. Hodina if he'd like to speak to this.
We took bids, or IDOT took bids on this project on Friday, and the low bid was Fisher Excavating at $1,067,000. So it's actually less than we have what's in the resolution. It's a very good bid. We've also received the next part, a grant for the next part from Illinois 173 up to Willowbrook Lake.
Do you have any?
Those plans are done, and so as soon as we get the grant going, we're going to submit them too for construction.
Okay, Mr. Webster, you got a question?
Yeah, it's always my same question, I think, is how soon are we going to start on these projects?
This one will be held up for a little bit because we can't clear trees until the fall because of the bats.
Oh, I forgot about the bats, yeah.
Yeah. The contractor will do everything he can here as soon as it's awarded by the state, but he can't really do a lot until he can clear the trees.
Yeah.
So what, the bats are nesting and doing their thing right now, or?
Yeah, they're doing their thing, and they go away in the fall because it gets too cold.
All right, so got to wait till they go south. We got to wait till they become snowbirds.
Yeah. Snow bats in this case.
All right, and Frank, if you could just jot a note for reference and a meeting or two down the line. I know past few months ago we had talked about possibilities of a walkway bike path bridge over the Riverside 90 corridor there out in Mr. Butita's district. And just if you could jot a note down there, and maybe someone could give us an update in the next meeting or two or something like that, as far as what you know or don't know.
Okay.
All right, all in favor of that resolution?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the resolution is approved. Our next item of business is a resolution 21-018. It's a resolution authorizing the award of a bid for resurfacing Baxter Road from Mulford to Perryville Roads, and Perryville Road from Baxter Road to the CN Railroad at Cherry Valley Township. It's cost of $568,000, and I would so move that item.
Second.
Second by Mr. Girl. And I heard you, Jim, saying that you were unable to open some PDFs and attachments, but I did look at it. And Frank, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I see, it's awarded to Rock Road at a cost of $568,000 and some change. And
That's
Frank, if you could speak to that a little as well.
Well, this is, since motor fuel tax funds for the townships are run through the county highway department, the county board has to approve the contract. We don't budget these funds. We don't do anything with them. They are the townships, but you have to approve it because that's just the way the state set it up.
Well, so those section of roadways are within township jurisdictions.
Yes, these are in Cherry Valley Township.
Okay. And let the record show Mr. Kelly has joined us here. Mr. Kelly, if just, I think this is out in your area there. We're just talking about the resolution for award of bid for resurfacing out there Baxter Roads, out in your neck of the woods there. And like I say, it's just past $2 for the various townships out in that sector. Any questions, comments on that item? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, the resolution is approved. And with that, I'll go on to other matters. I see nothing on the docket here. I have nothing for myself, but Mr. Hodino, anything you'd like to add to the meeting or let the committee know?
I don't know how familiar you are with the Meridian Road Bridge being closed over the Peck.
Little
but
bit.
It should be open by tomorrow sometime.
Okay, and could you just give us a little insight on what the remedy was?
We put a plate on it and they're going to overlay the plate.
Okay, and that'll get us by sometime in the future, or we can make a permanent restoration.
Well, we are applying for funds and have several times through the special bridge funds from the state. This last round, we seem to have been awarded funds for Roscoe Road Bridge, but not this one. But we'll keep applying for funds for this one.
Mr. Webster.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Frank. That was my question of the evening. It was about the bridge because, it's up here in my neck of the woods. So, couple of questions, I guess. How bad of a hole was that? How big was it? Whatever. And then I saw where you had to get some bids from several different vendors there, and I'm just curious who the vendor was, how big of a bridge plate did we have to put on there? I'm familiar with bridge plates, so I'm just curious.
We'll send you some pictures if that's okay.
Sure, that's perfect. So
N-Track did the work and they did an exceptional job. They put the plates down and now they're ready to do the resurfacing. I was amazed in just a couple of days from telling them to go do it.
okay, so you think they're going to be open tomorrow, you said?
We're going to try. We'll see what happens. It's not going to be closed all the way to the end of the week.
Okay, I'm personally in no hurry on that. For me, it's not a big deal to go a little east and then west to up Sherland Road there, to go further north. But I do get calls from constituents here and want to know what's going on with that bridge. And they said, "Didn't you just fix that bridge a month ago or something?" I had to tell them about the bridge joints then and so forth. So, yeah. So I'm happy to hear that it's going to be done quickly. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments on that item? I know we moved and seconded it. Do we? Yeah, I think we did all in favor on it as well. Frank, could you speak to, I don't know if it's bothering you guys at all, but is this a bit of a drought we're in affecting any of your operations or things you're doing or not doing right now?
As far as I know, no. Actually, the weather's perfect for what we're doing.
Okay.
The rain doesn't get in our way.
All right, I'd imagine you can do, I don't know if you're doing bridge inspections, but it's a little easier to get down in the creeks when they're darn near dry, huh?
It is, and the grass isn't growing as quickly, so it's easier to mow.
Well, good deal. All right, with that, it's this time. Mr. Thompson, do you have anything you'd like to add from your end of the table there?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just had one question for Frank. There was an issue regarding the chemical fire, and I guess there was a request for sand, and there was maybe a little bit of confusion on the schedule or the summer schedule, and could you explain what the issue was with the highway department providing sand?
We're on summer hours right now, which is Tuesday through Friday, 10-hour days. And so are the townships. And it's kind of hard to call someone in because they just won't answer their phones because it's not snowing or no, so they're really under no obligation to do so. What I did was I called the Rockton Village Hall and asked who their public works director was. And I contacted him and talked to him. And then I contacted the chairman and gave the chairman Dan's number. Dan was ready to go. He just didn't know who to call.
Okay, it was
And
just
he's right up there. So
yeah. Yeah, okay, that's helpful, that explanation. I was just concerned with the fact that we couldn't respond with sand for the fire, because of our schedule. And I mean, I get the summer schedule issue, but maybe in the case of an emergency, we would maybe have someone on call. And the county we'd have to be willing to pay, probably some premium pay to bring someone in, but I would think in the case of a natural disaster or emergency like this, we would have the ability to, have someone on call so that we can get someone in.
what we do in the winter, we just don't in the summer.
Yeah, we may want to, talk to Carlos and maybe have that language provision in the contract going forward somehow.
Because we did have a guy available. We finally found one and he was willing to come in. I just thought it'd be better to have someone right up there take the sand to the site.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I was just wanted to follow up with you on that.
I had my 2 cents to that. Just maybe just for your info, Mr. Thompson and whatnot, and let's say I know there was a retirement up there. I don't know exactly how the public works functions and Rockton works. And like I say, it's easy to coach a game after it's over or in hindsight. But if I was the public works director, I would have a handful of numbers that I could call in a moment's notice, whether it was Stenstrom's, Rock Road, Rogers Ready Mix, Roscoe Ready Mix. There's a handful of sand quarries within a stone's throw of that facility that have multiple people on in track just for a fact. I mean, they're coming out 24/7. And I know the county does go above and beyond in many cases to help with intergovernmental agreements and help with disasters and all of that. But in my line of work and what I know and what I do, I could probably have a load of sand delivered to my house within 45 minutes at 24/7. And so I just don't know where that went wrong, but I don't think that lays on the highway departments, as far as I think there was many other avenues that it could have been solved.
Right. I think you're exactly right, Dave. And I think that we just have to, in the case of an emergency like this, maybe have a better list of products or services that, at our command. I think it was just our first reaction to call the highway department. I mean, just thinking they would have sand, but
Yeah.
I guess I wasn't, I had forgotten about the summer schedule. So, but you're right. There were probably other providers that could have easily provided the amount of sand that was required too. So it was, lessons learned.
Yeah. And just in addition to that, Frank, you spoke that no one answered the phone. I'm assuming you have a foreman or some lead operator or somebody that's on call 24/7, and shouldn't they answer the phone?
None of the drivers are on. I mean, no one with a CDL is on call right now.
So you have a
It's Andy Perillo,
okay.
and he was trying to find someone to come in and actually take it up there.
So none of your management holds a CDL in case of emergency to operate a vehicle.
I know. I let mine go long, long time ago.
I'm not saying specifically you. I'm just saying an on-call person.
I don't think any of us do. I'm not sure, but I don't think any of us really do.
Well, all right. I guess I can live with that, but like I say, I mean, it
Could
would,
be
it would
wrong. I
be.
just, yeah, I don't know.
So there's none of your rank and file staff, field workers, ditch diggers, whatever you want to call them, that are on call for any after hours emergencies.
Not in the summer.
Okay. What do you do when you got a stop sign down or a catastrophe out on the road?
One of the foremen or like Andy goes, picks it up and puts it up.
Okay, I see. Well, maybe it's something we got to look at, to have some kind of staff that can operate a loader or have CDL, that they're at least available within a phone call.
Yeah, I'll follow up with Carlos and Frank on
Mhm.
this issue. I just, as long as Frank was on the call, I thought I would ask.
Okay, anything? I see Mr. Webster first, and then Mr. Grill.
Yeah, thank you. You're right about the access points to sand there, Dave. I mean, right down Prairie Hill Road, 2 miles up the road from there is Rogers. Rogers has a large sand and stone quarry right there, huge. And so the issue, I guess, was getting it to there. And so to that end, and I'm not saying I know how to run the highway department, Frank, but just a suggestion, but like with the state, guys there that work for the state can opt out of any emergency calls during the summertime. They can put their name on a list and say, don't call me, man. Don't call me all summer. Not for emergency anyways. And so, but there is some of them that they have to have a minimum amount available for emergency call out. For an example, when there's blow-ups in this 90-degree weather, we see the roads blow up occasionally. You know, you've seen where it literally explodes. The cement roads do, can at a crack. And so then whenever that happens, that would take at least 3 of us to go out and fix a blow up. And so you get an emergency call out for that. And yeah, you had to be there like that. If it was after 3:30, you still, if you got the call, you had to go. Unless you were more on the senior side there, seniority side, where you could absolutely say, no, don't call on me. I told you, don't call me. But somehow or another, Frank, I'm not sure how they work that now. So going to what Patrick is saying, moving forward, maybe that might be something to look forward to, that we should at least have 2 or 3 people available that can drive a truck and operate a loader. You couldn't have just one in for insurance purposes only, or I would assume you'd have to have at least 2 guys come in. But that might be something just to look into, Frank. And once again, I'm not trying to be a smart aleck about all this, but it's just a suggestion.
I don't disagree with that at all. It's just we're not set up that way.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's
And
why
nobody thought about
no
it.
one thought about it. And that's why my first instinct was to call the village, because I was a city engineer and I dealt with problems like this and they would come direct to me.
Yeah.
So I said, the guy up there is closest to it and he's the best to deal with it.
Yep. And it's
It would
not,
have taken us over an hour, but before a guy got in here, we loaded him up and he drove it up there.
Well-
it's not like we have a disaster like this every day.
No, and then I would just add to that. I mean, I get it. Like I say, I know the county bends over backwards to help all, but I mean, where was the on-call guy for the village of Rockton? That's the first question, I guess. And then I'll turn over to Mr. Girl.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. You guys pretty much summed up what I was thinking. But as Chairman Tassoni knows, when I was with the city and the water department, we were on call. I had to take call every 5th week. So my thought was, if we had 2 guys that would sign up, or whoever, we would offer 2 hours per day, the Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, as time paid for just being around and being able to answer that phone call, an incentive, to have somebody on call. I know it doesn't happen all the time, incidents where we have to call somebody in. But if there was some kind of incentive, whether it's a couple hours just to stand by and answer the phone call, I think the union would be all right with that. And I don't think we have to go through and renegotiate the contract to make that happen. I think that's just a conversation Carlos needs to have along with Mr. Thompson with ASME and figure that out. Because I think they would be more inclined, if there was some kind of incentive, absolutely, to answer those phone calls. So.
Yeah, and just lastly by me is, and Frank, and I know, like Carlos wasn't here and all that, and it'll be a conversation for another day. But like I say, as it sounds now, if there's not anybody on paper that's officially on call that can either run a load or has a CDL, and you're just leaving it up to your lead man or your foreman to get a hold of who's necessary and no one answers, that sets yourself up for a single point of failure. And the next time it could be the county's liability or responsibility where it really matters. So I'm amazed that you don't have a worker that can operate a loader and have a CDL on call 24/7.
They can't operate a loader. They just can't drive.
Well, I just use that generically as saying a general person in the ASME union or whatever your union is that can do a work function in an emergency operation.
No, I don't disagree with that at all.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll follow up with Frank and Carlos, and we'll get it, to a point where and we'll bring it back to the committee before any decision is made on this. But it's just something that came up yesterday real quickly in the morning, and things were kind of crazy in the EOC, and there were a lot of things we learned yesterday going through this, and this was just one minor little issue.
Yeah, it was. And like I say, had it been 8 o'clock this morning, I'm sure the county highway would have been all hands on deck, whatever necessary. And I get it. That stuff happens. I get it. Been there a dozen times.
Yeah, but thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
There is a disaster book. I don't know if people are aware of it. And it's updated. It was last updated in 2019. And it lists everyone around that you could call to get stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I say, I mean, for me personally, I could call 4 different private people or a friend or two, and I could probably have a load of sand at my house in 45 minutes.
But I don't know how widely this book's distributed. I mean, we have a copy and we did send them out.
Yeah. And there again, I mean, I'm proficient. I've been through multiple disaster management seminars.
Yes.
I am certified in water and wastewater disaster management. And I would have had one of them big track hoes down at the river with a dump truck getting some sand off the riverbank, if that's what I had to do. Anyway, anybody else got any questions, comments on any items? I'd ask for a motion for adjournment.
I'll move.
Moved by Mr. Girl, seconded by Mr. Webster, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you, folks. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Dave. Good job.
Bye.
Thank you.